It wasn't a drug den, it was a Home Depot. It was places where people are working.
Ken, what do you say to people who distinguish between undocumented people who work and pay taxes and undocumented people who are members of Tren de Aragua or committing a violent crime in other means?
So there's two reasons to deport the latter and one reason to deport the former. Even to date, even with the Trump administration, the mayor is correct that they have emphasized illegal aliens who've committed other crimes because of the public safety benefit, obviously. But even to this day, less than half of the people that they have been processing for deportation in the second Trump administration have been also criminals. That's about somewhere, I don't know the numbers in front of me, somewhere between 2.5% and 5% of the total illegal population. That's a small fraction of it. It's a high impact fraction of it. But unlike their predecessors and even the first Trump term, they're not ignoring all of the others as well. So, and I think it's wildly unreasonable of the mayor to lament the president enforcing the law as if it's doing wrong in some way. It's just outrageous.
And as you said, there's one reason to deport one group and two to deport another. You have long called illegal immigrants invaders, I think for almost 20 years now. Are they all invaders, even if they are holding down a job and raising their kids to be upstanding citizens?
So what I speak about is the border crossing. It used to be that the majority of illegal immigrants here came in legally and overstayed visas, like we just saw with the terrorist in Colorado. That used to be the majority of illegal aliens here until about 10, 12, 15 years ago when the border crossings really took over. That's what I refer to as the invasion. The state governors actually could stop it on their own borders if they chose to do so. None have chosen to do that yet. And so I view them all as being appropriate for deportation. There's different levels of moral culpability among the population of illegal aliens for sure. But when it's all said and done, they're here illegally. They're depressing wages that poor American people could have. And we've seen that actually play out when worksite enforcement actually happens.
The chief of LAPD was asked, and I'm sure you're aware of this, but again, maybe our viewers aren't, and I want them to know, Ken, was asked if LA needs the Guard. He said he would need to know more about what their capabilities are, what their intended role should be. Does that raise concerns for you that you have the chief of law enforcement in Los Angeles who says, yes, they are overwhelmed. He is not dismissing outright the need for the Guard, but he appears to have some legitimate concerns about deconflicting with the Guard. Does that raise concerns for you?
Deconfliction is always an operational priority. These are, allied forces for law enforcement. And yes, you want as much coordination and communication and deconfliction as you can possibly get.
So then what is the role? What can the Guard do? What can they not do to speak to his concern?
Well, it's not clear to me because the police are politically hired. The chief works for the mayor and the city council. Is not an independently elected sheriff like you would find conducting law enforcement in other communities, perhaps. And so there's a political impediment here. And you and I have talked a bit about how the mayor has approached this. That's a major impediment to that communication. I'm sure there is communication, but you always want it to be ideal and free flowing. The mayor said, has made it clear, all her statements are clear, that if she has information about ICE efforts in Los Angeles, she's not going to be cooperative. She's going to do everything she can to undermine it. And the police work for the mayor. It makes for a very difficult situation, one where the law enforcement officers on both sides, whether they be Guard, whether they be Marines if they come in later, whether they be Los Angeles Police Department, they all do have to take extra efforts to coordinate with one another. And it's less efficient and it's less safe. Not just for the officers, but for the communities as well. So the people getting in the way of that communication are making these communities less safe.
Well, thank you for outlining just how dangerous this situation is. Ken Cuccinelli, thank you so much for being with us.
Very.